How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going over your hot takes. I asked all of you guys about your hot takes about really anything: music, film, I don't know, shows, life, games, whatever. I asked all of you about your hot takes, and yeah, let's not waste any time and let's get straight into it. From Lols555, Carti over Radiohead. Unironically, that's obviously a hot take. Depending on the space you're in, that might not be a hot take. You feel me? If you're in a rap TV Instagram comment section, most people are going to be like, Radiohead who? Radiohead who? But if you're like on online discourse, if you're on RYM, I think you're gonna get burned alive. Now, might sound crazy what I'm about to say, but Carti, hate him, love him, whatever you think about him, I think he's probably gonna be one of the most influential rappers in the past decade, of this decade. Whole Lotta Red has had a stupid amount of influence on the current day rap landscape. Now, personally, I don't know if I'd pick Carti over Radiohead. I do like Dilate. I have said before, I think it's a classic. I enjoy Whole Lotta Red. I like the Playboy Carti self-titled, but Radiohead has a more storied discography, more variety, more stuff going on. I wouldn't put Radiohead under Carti, but I understand if somebody does, you feel me? Next, by Liamology, it looks like the Radiohead albums ranked. Let's see this. So the Bins, over in Rainbows, over in OK Computer, over a Moonshade Pool, over Amnesiac, over Kid A. Yeah, that's a hot take, and I think you're, respectfully, a bit fucking stupid. I will say, in Rainbows over OK Computer and Kid A, I agree with. I think that is a better album than the both of them. But the Bins? Dude, I own the Bins on CD. It is not all that. There are some weak tracks on the Bins, and as a whole, it sounds incredibly, put frank, it sounds a bit more generic than everything. It's a lot less interesting than OK Computer or Kid A, or a Moonshade Pool, or even fucking Amnesiac. It's just not as interesting as an album. And even as like just like this goes hard sort of album, like in Rainbows, it's interesting and every song goes hard. The Bins, you can't say the same. Not every song is the same level of quality. Some songs are stinkers on that shit. OK Computer over Kid A as well, can't agree with. I think Kid A is a better album, but I think they're both very close in like rating. Next, from Marsh GL. I feel like most musicians lose at least a little bit of authenticity when they star in their own music videos. An artist might write a really beautiful song with deep and meaningful lyrics, but if that singer stars in their own video, then there is this juxtaposition between, because the sincerity of their music and the inherent fakeness of their acting, it just shifts my perception of the artist away from being a sincere musician and more towards them being an entertainer. This is obviously okay sometimes, but often it cheapens the whole artist band for me. That's an interesting take. I've never heard anybody mention that. That's really interesting, honestly. I think it depends on the type of music. When I think of something like Playboy Carti, you know, we mentioned him earlier. If his videos didn't have him running around and acting like a lunatic, I don't think they'd be nearly as interesting. He needs to be in those videos for them to be a Carti music video, you feel me? But I get what you mean, because sometimes when artists are in it, it's hard to take them seriously. One example is, I like the Concord from Answer Up There, Black Country New Road. I like that music video, but definitely seeing the little alien and all the band members acting is definitely makes me take the song a bit less seriously, just saying. But I mean, there's something like Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt. That's so iconic, and if he wasn't in the video, what the fuck? That would be so boring. Outside Don't Clear. We have Good Luck from Bladee is a good album. That is a hot take, because a lot of people shaft that shit. They do not fuck with Good Luck, which is a shame, because you're right. It is an enjoyable album. As I said in the Drain Gang review, it's Blade's most danceable and probably just simply enjoyable album. And what I mean by that is, you can put Good Luck on anytime and you're just nodding your head to it. You're just having a good time. It's a really fun album. It's super short, but it's for sure a good Blade album. It's a 7 out of 10 probably. I think for some people that's a hot take. For the few who listen to it, because let's be real, I think there's a lot of Blade fans who probably have never listened to that shit ever. Next, from Name Last Name Word, a good username. 1 whoa, oh my god, okay. 1 Trout Mask Replica sucks, and music elitists only pretend to enjoy it to feel good about themselves and gain good boy points on various image boards and internet forums. Yeah, I understand like the history behind it. I think it's interesting how, like, yes, everything you're hearing is intentional. Everything was charted out. everything sounds the way it does because it's supposed to be intricate and complicated, and you need to be a true music intellectual to really understand. But it comes across as extremely elitist in my opinion, because let's be real, I think for majority of people, when you listen to that, it sounds like ass. Okay, I'm gonna be real, it sounds like shit. There's like maybe 1 or 2 songs on there that I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of interesting, that's kind of good, but most of the time it just sounds like shit, and people are like, you just simply don't understand Trout Math's replica. Your IQ is simply not high enough to understand. Like it sucks. Like it sucks. I agree. I think that's a hot take because some people really are ride or die for that album. You know, one thing that was funny is when I reviewed that album, I think majority of the people who commented were at least 40 years old or older, probably more like 60, and I was getting dogged on, bro. I was getting dogged on. They threw me to the wolves. They did not fuck with my opinion. From Emmy Lowell, I genuinely don't get how people say Monster is some of the best writing ever. I agree that characters are great, but watching it got super boring because Urasawa does this really weird thing where he takes a buzzword and repeats it a billion times. Like for example, I feel like the words Red Rose Mansion and 511 Kinderheim were used in every other sentence. Okay, I get it. It's the element that's important in the story. Now stop insulting my intelligence, please. I think this is more of a problem with Urasawa in general because I had exactly the same problem with Pluto where it was even worse. Also, the end of Evangelion OST is one of the best albums ever, not just in soundtracks. First off, Monster, I've never read or watched any of his work. Obviously, for many, he is the GOAT. Billy Bat, Pluto, 20th Century Boys, Monster, like 4 completed manga series that people universally hail most of the time. I do plan to watch Monster, so that's interesting to hear. And Evangelion OST is one of the best albums ever, not just in soundtrack. Best albums ever? You know, honestly, I kind of understand. Definitely in soundtracks, it's up there. Of course, it has Thanatos and it has Come Susur Todd or Come Sweet Death, but so many of the songs on here are fantastic. They're explosive, they're energetic, they're melancholic, they're incredibly invigorating and just life-affirming music. Like, come on, Expansion of Blockade is maybe one of the best instrumentals I've ever heard. It's so incredibly moving and beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. From Toad8576 said, Black Country New Road sound is more realized, fun, and generally better without Isaac. Dang, that is a hot take. Majority of people I do not think would agree with you. I can't say because I haven't listened to the live at whatever hall that album, right? And I haven't listened to it for the first time. I find it hard to believe because I think a lot of what I enjoyed personally so much about Ants From Up There was Isaac's heartbreakingly human performance. There's so much emotion in his vocals, right? He sounds like he's about to break down. He sounds like he's screaming with just pure emotion. His voice isn't perfect, but that's what makes so many of these songs. Next, from Ted Brown, we say Justice over Discovery. Okay, it's way more exciting, experimental, and goes way harder. Discovery is just far too poppy with a lot of just okay tracks. Modern Baseball is the best emo band of all time. All right. Bruno Mars has more bangers than MJ. Okay, these are all hot takes. You really followed the assignment because these are all fucking hot takes. Okay, Justice over Discovery, I can't really speak on. Modern Baseball is the best emo band of all time. Modern Baseball has some good albums, but no, dude, the fuck? The best emo band of all time? No. I'll be real, I'm a tiny bit of an emo elitist. I'm definitely more of like, emo should sound a bit more like hardcore than like fucking whatever the hell American football is, but it's not. Modern Baseball, best emo band? Come on, man. If we're gonna count Brave Little Abacus as an emo band, which I know they themselves say they're not, then they're definitely probably the best. Cap and Jazz literally did one and done best Midwest emo album. I understand I like Modern Baseball, but best ever? Nah, that is a hot take, but I don't fucking agree with that. Bruno Mars more bangers than MJ. Yeah, but which ones are more recognizable? You feel me? When somebody hears a banger from Michael Jackson, they know it. When somebody hears a banger from Bruno Mars, you feel me? Like, I think there's weight to it. Michael Jackson has more weight in his hits. They're just way more iconic, like historically significant in my opinion, right? When you hear Man in the Mirror, when you hear Thriller, there's way more cultural importance and significance in Michael Jackson's hits than fucking Bruno Mars, right? Next, from The Boy, Bloodborne is the best Souls game and is only rivaled by Sekiro and Elden Ring. Okay, this is a layered take and one that I can speak on because I fucking played all Souls games. I've played Sekiro, I've played Elden Ring, just finished the DLC, but not really because I haven't beat the final boss. Okay, here's the thing. Elden Ring is not one of the best Souls games. It's honestly like a bit better than Dark Souls 2. And I somewhat enjoy Dark Souls 2. A lot of you be hating on Dark Souls 2 and you don't even play it. It's a fine game. It's fun, but it's definitely like not the best. Dark Souls 1 is better than Elden Ring. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just a much more fun, interesting, game that I'm not banging my head at all the time. And Elden Ring's not that hard. Like, I've beaten it a few times. I think Bloodborne being the best Souls game, I don't think that's a hot take. And here's the thing with Sekiro, I don't think it's a Souls game. Like, yes, it has Souls elements, but it's so like different than that I really find it hard to compare. Yes, Sekiro is a From Software game, but I wouldn't say it's a Souls game. Personally, I think Sekiro is easily the best From Software game. The way it perfectly complements gameplay and story, I've never seen a game top. You got to realize a lot of games, the gameplay and story are very disconnected. That's an issue with a lot of games. Sekiro, it's directly tied. You as a player are Wolf. There's a reason why you can't go summon people, you can't go do this to fight a boss. You have to literally just beat him and get better because you are Wolf. Wolf is washed, okay? He's fucking washed. And as you beat each boss, as you as a player get better at the game, Wolf regains his skills as a shinobi. That's the whole point. You see how interconnected the gameplay for the player and the character is? That shit's crazy. Also because it's incredibly fun and it has some of the most beautiful area designs out of any From Software game. I will say in terms of Souls games, I do think Bloodborne is the best, but truth be told, I think Lies of P is damn near on par. Obviously that's not a From Soft game, but Lies of P does everything that a Souls game should do, and it's just improved upon every single aspect and gameplay mechanic. And here's the thing, Elden Ring is just a bigger Dark Souls, okay? Let's be honest, it doesn't really improve or try to innovate in a lot of the Souls main mechanics. It just makes it a larger scale, which for some people I understand why they would like that so much, but for me it doesn't do the whole lot. But something like Lies of P is actively trying to innovate the gameplay, make it different and new and change it up, and it does it perfectly. Lies of P should be the standard of Souls games from now on since it came out. It's easily the best Souls game I've played since I've played Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1. I do think Bloodborne is the best From Soft Souls game. I agree with you on that. I don't think that's that much of a hot take, but I agree with you. I think Elden Ring's overrated as hell, and I think Sekiro's From Soft's best game. Next, from Scotty Gamer. To Pimp a Butterfly is so overrated. The overtly cinematic presentation just has this effect of making the album sound fake or something to me. And there are multiple tracks on the album I just think are all right. Like the track, I'm joking guys. I do not think it will stand the test of time truly as the greatest album in its genre, and especially not as the best album of all time. Not only that, but I really think a lot of the music is a product of its time and will not age super well. In a bad way, it reminds me of J. Cole or something, and one thing I notice about critics oftentimes is that anytime an album is cinematic or tells a story, they give it a 10 or a really high rating. Just because it tells a story or a concept album does not make it a masterpiece or really good. Yeah, dude, okay, let's break this down because there's multiple things to talk about. First off, To Pimp a Butterfly in general, I do think it is a bit overrated. It's personally not one of my favorite albums of all time. I personally think Good Kid, Mad City is a better album. I don't know, dude. I think it is a culturally important and will be historically remembered as one of the best albums of all time. It's important as a 21st century album. It's important as one of the best albums of the 2010s, and it's a culturally relevant album, okay? To Pimp a Butterfly has cemented itself into our modern culture in terms of music, and I think because of that, it will be historically remembered as maybe not the best album of all time, but one of the greatest for sure. Albums, and this applies to more than just music, but films, anything that can speak on universal things, or at least things that keep happening throughout history, will remain prevalent forever. Music, obviously, you also want to be innovative as well. That seems to like last the stand of time. But something like Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, right? A lot of the stuff that was talked about on that album is still culturally relevant today, and that's why it's hailed so much. But those issues are still relevant today, and that's why it stood the test of time. And I think To Pimp a Butterfly is the exact same thing. Also, your whole take on concept and cinematic albums, yeah, maybe somebody like Pitchfork or Rolling Stone, yeah, they're gonna rank concept albums higher, but I don't think this is necessarily 100% the case. Like, didn't Pitchfork put like Loveless as like their top album from the 90s? Like, yeah, a concept album makes an album, I think, maybe easier to understand. It kind of justifies the album format more for a lot of people. I don't know, dude, this is just kind of a weird take. I don't necessarily agree with you, and that's coming from somebody who does think To Pimp a Butterfly is a tiny bit overrated. Next, from Goldboy, we have Howls Moving Castle is Miyazaki's worst film. Okay, this is gonna get some people mad. Haven't seen Boy and the Heron yet. Me neither. It's still an okay movie, but it's more style over substance in my opinion, and I don't care for the world building or characters that much compared to his other films. Alright, here's the thing. I've only seen 2 Miyazaki movies in my entire life, and I watched them in the past 3 months. Oh wait, no, that's a lie. Okay, I've seen Spirited Away, and I literally watched Princess Mononoke like 5 days ago, and I watched Ponyo when I was 5 years old, and that's about it. So I can't personally speak on this. Let me know in the comments below if Goldboy is spitting facts or if he's a lunatic. RT Rainbows, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, that's my bad. Jpegmafia is the best hip-hop artist ever, and no one comes close to him. You submitted this to the wrong person, dude. Okay, listen, I'm just saying, I'm a Jpegmafia hater. What can I say? I'm just a Jpegmafia hater. It's not like a recent thing. I hated his ass before Kanye and him linked up. That being said though, my main thing with Jpegmafia is I dislike him as a person, but his music I do think is generally pretty good, especially if we include Devon Hendrix. He has a very nice discography. But the thing with JPEG is I think under his Jpegmafia name, what he talks about has not changed since he started rapping under Jpegmafia. Production wise, yes, he has experimented and definitely evolved leaps and bounds, but I've always found that his lyrics, bro hasn't evolved as a lyricist in my opinion that much since he started as Jpegmafia. His lyrics constantly feel the same on every album, on a lot of songs. I don't think he's that great of a lyricist. I think he's a really good rapper. He has such a distinct personality and sound and flow when he raps, but as a lyricist I find him to be relatively boring, in my opinion. I'm gonna be real, this is gonna sound a bit like mean, but Jpegmafia, in my opinion, is like, it's band kid rap music. I'm sorry, but that's literally how I've always interpreted him. He feels like band kid rap music. That's all I can say. Even if we're talking like newer, kind of 21st century, you know, past decade rap artists, experimental hip hop, I think Lil Ugly Mane is a much more interesting artist and much more of a contender for greatest all-time artist than Jpegmafia. Gabotanist says Steroids is top 3 Death Grips album. You're right, Steroids is up there. It's better than The Money Store. You're my hero for real. Steroids is better than The Money Store. That's my hot take. It's more interesting, and it might have caused that one bombing. Search up that video if you know what I'm talking about. Next, hey lols, hold up. Hey, you did a second one. What's up with that? I fuck with your channel, so I'll do it though. Spirited Away isn't even top 10 Ghibli. That is a hot ass take. That being said, it's like their 11th or 12th best film. Okay, again, as I said before, I haven't seen a lot of Ghibli movies, but that is a hot take. For a lot of people, that's the best one. Hey, if you see more Ghibli movies, tell me in the comments below. Is Low's right? E-Goblin. I think Is This It by The Strokes isn't that great, and Life of Pablo is one of Kanye's worst albums. E-Goblin, I'm gonna say this as respectfully as I can, and I don't mean to offend you, but you sound like you would not be that fun to be around. Okay, here's the thing with Is This It? Is it life-changing, incredible, amazing album of all time? No. Some people hype it up like this is the best thing ever, but it's a really fun album. It's just so fun. I understand why people like it so much because banger after banger after banger. They're just so fun and enjoyable, and you can listen to it anytime. I think it is a great album. I don't think it's like life-changing, you know, like best album of the 2000s or any of that, but it's a really good album. And you saying Life of Pablo is Kanye's worst? One of his worst? Dude, no. Life of Pablo is one of the most interesting thematically from Kanye. It has one of Kanye's best intros and outros. It's one of his most experimental albums in terms of every track. There's somewhat of a different sound going on, and he manages to stick the landing each time. It's by far Kanye's most varied, interesting, and thematically consistent album besides The College Dropout. Isaac Woods says, Spirit They're Gone Remastered is the best anco album. You gave me like 15. Bro. Okay, dude, respectfully, fuck you, but at the same time, thank you. So I'll do all of them. Spirit They're Gone Remastered is the best anco album. I'm gonna be real, it doesn't sound like too different than the original, but yeah, it's pretty good. Swan's a little bit overrated. It may be because I've only listened to soundtracks for the blind. No, you're right. Mount Eerie, the album, is super overrated. Yeah, a bit. It's a very interesting kind of artsy album, but I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's like, I understand why most people like The Glow Part 2 more. Normal Person Reviews and Kyle Reed are better than Anthony Fantano. Bro, man, thank you so much. This means so. No, but you know, people can have their opinions. Thank you for supporting the channel. Kyle Reed's a cool guy. He makes very sincere content. Check out his smaller channel. I like his smaller channel more. He doesn't make content on it anymore where he doesn't talk about music. I like that channel more, honestly. Kyle Reed's new album, Corporate House, is album of the year. You know, I've been meaning to check out Kyle Reed's new album for a while now because I've heard great things about it. Drux is the best aphex Twin record. It's up there. It's interesting. It's a very varied, interesting, and all over the place album, but I can see people either hating it for that reason or loving it for that reason. Now with Anthony Fantano doing that aphex Twins list, as everybody's gonna be like, I've actually had Drux as my favorite aphex Twin record for a while now. My tastes are just so similar to Fantano. Texas Jerusalem Crossroads is the best shoegaze record ever, followed by To See the Next Part of the Dream. I like that a lot. I really like that take. I think I'm gonna review that album sometime in the future. I've listened to it a few times already. Yes, To See the Next Part of the Dream and Texas Jerusalem Crossroads are some of the best shoegaze albums ever, period. Most interesting, most varied instrumentally, most concept-wise, just incredibly captivating. Loveless over Slovaki. Yeah, over time, I would probably have to agree. Self-Titled is the best MGMT album. I don't know, I don't listen to him. Flat Sound is severely underrated artist. Please review his album, Sleep. Respectfully, dude, I don't know who that is, and I probably won't. I'm sorry. Sleep by Gus V. Black Emperor might be the best song ever. I don't think that's a hot take, but yeah, it's pretty good. Weezer should release one more record and disband. I don't know, I don't listen to Weezer. In Rainbows is the best Radiohead album. That's not a hot take, but yeah, you're right. Long season studio version is better than the live version. Sorry, the middle section where it's just drums, piano, and samples kind of gets boring, but the live version has a better end. Okay, that's true. I have a friend who adamantly defends this opinion. I don't agree. I think the live album is a lot more interesting, but I understand the take. But yeah, I can't agree. Selected Ambient Works 2 is best ambient album ever. I'm gonna be real, I listened to it once. I thought it was kind of boring. So I guess I disagree. So guys, that was your hot takes from anything from music to games to movies. We ended up talking about Ghibli, weirdly, a decent amount. So if you guys enjoyed this video, tell me in the comments below. Tell me any of your hot takes, I guess, in the comments below as well. Let me know about your thoughts on some of the takes in this video. If you guys enjoyed this, I'm very open to doing it again. It's really a fun to kind of have this dialogue with all of you. Check out my Patreon if you like what I do. One tier, $1. I have some unreleased footage where I reacted to radio/new song by Sprain, and you'll be read out at the end of videos like this. So thank you to my 3 patrons, Poppy John, Sreme, and Fayri. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And I Pick Your Pocket, thank you as well. Reviews are to come. I'm working on them. I've been thinking recently that maybe for albums I haven't heard, I might just react to them instead of reviewing them so that videos actually get out on time. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Have a good day. Keep the hot takes coming. And yeah.